OMG. I just read in the chat one of the best words that I have seen in the entire year. Granted, the year hasn't started for too long. So, cis-wumuksen. Oh my, that is brilliant. Who said that? Political defiant. I will type it. Hold on, so you guys can see the beauty of it, right? Cis-wumuksen. Right, so like, why would you say that? Because women, I remember feminists used to do this, the third wave ones, right? Now we're into the fourth wave, I guess. But the third wave feminists, they said that woman is not good because it has the word man in it, right? So you have woman. Horrible. Like, why do men have to be in everything, even in women, right? So they went with wumuksen. But now the fourth wave feminists, they constantly tell you that there's two. Well, actually, there's two, but there's one. It's like, you know how God, like, is the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit? So it's like three entities, but they're one. It's kind of the same for women. Like, you have trans women and women, but like trans women are also women, right? So, you have trans women, cis women, but the trans women are women. It's kind of like that. It's religious in nature. Right? The three become one. So I was thinking about conjoining the definitions. And you have cis-wumuksen. Brilliant. Anyway, Lamented Guide, thank you for the $1.99. Any word from Wizard of the Cope? Yes, I made a video about it on my other channel. Apparently, they were threatened with litigation. They lost around $100,000, people estimate. So they made the most passive-aggressive apology that I have ever seen. They're basically saying that, look, it's not because of your voices that we're changing. It's not that you guys won. We won as well. Everyone wins. And I'm like, holy shit. Just shut the fuck up. Romuxnian TV. I like that. Romuxnian. What is the fascination? Like, this is a morbid fascination that I notice woke people have with letter X. Is it because X marks the spot? You know, I remember that when I was at med school, there was this university professor. We were at gynecology. We were learning gynecology. And the professor was like, let me show you where the pee hole is at the woman, right? And every guy starts laughing. It's like, I know where the pee hole is. And the professor goes like, really smart ass. So if I take you to the other salon where the lighting is bad, and the lady has around 250 kilograms, are you going to find it? And I said, yes. If you have some flour, I just spray it over, and I see when it gets wet. But you know, X marks the spot, right? So they're really obtuse about using the X for some goddamn reason. And now I think I figured out why. Because they can't find it. They literally cannot find it, so they need the X in order to guide them to where it's supposed to go. X is the unknown? Not necessarily. Like, I could just flip it backwards and I can say X is literally where it's known. X is the spot. Dude, you see so much stuff that you're not trained for when you're a medical professional. Look, I don't think Doug understood the joke with the flower. Doug, okay, let me explain to you the joke again. You have a lady that's a massive corporeal manifestation, right? And you're supposed to find the hole, but you can't see it because it's under thick layers of fat. It's under thick layers of cholesterol. It's hidden, right? So how do you find it? Well, you take some flour and you drop it over her, and where the flour gets moist, that's where you're close, right? It's an indicator. It's like Pirates of the Dark Water, you know, he had that magical compass which showed him the light. It's kind of like that. Oh, God. Hello, Michael Guevara. I was going to talk about the D&D for a little bit. The Dungeons and Dragons. Where is it? I need to talk about it. Where is it? Where did they apologize? Holy shit. Did I not save it? Why did I not save it? Why do I have the tism? Holy shit, I did not save it. Okay. Okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. I'll find a workaround. Jesus Christ. I'll go to Arch's channel. Go to Arch's channel and I'll find it. It will not escape me. It's unable to elude me. Ah, here we go. It's on my channel, actually. So the moment I use an anime girl on the thumbnail, I got 1.4 thousand views. I should commission more. Holy shit. Anyway. Look at this, right? This is my favorite part of the entire thing. A couple last thoughts. First, we won't be able to release the new OGL today because we need to make sure we get it right, but it's coming. Second, you're going to hear people say that they won and we lost because making your voice heard forced us to change our plans. Those people will only be half right. They won and so did we. Oh, shut the fuck up. My fucking god. Who wrote that? You know, like, there is a human being out there. Like, I want you guys to understand. There is a human being that wrote that. Why do you use flour? Because... what else do you want to use? You use something that you notice where it gets into contact with water. I just don't understand. I never had to explain this joke before. Like, most people understood, but like, for some goddamn reason, some people in the chat require more explanations for the joke. What? I bet Sarah understood the joke. Sarah, if you put flour on a woman, and then the place it gets moist, what does that mean? And people are like, why flour? Well, what else do you want to use? Cocaine? Isn't that a little bit too expensive? Sodium? No, because it's not as visible. Like, the flour gives you the perfect background. Puts like a layer of white that's easily visible. I mean, sodium can work, but like, it's not the same. It's not as good. Look, it's a substance that's cheap, available, and a good indicator. What if her also fat blocked the flour? Well, you need to spread it properly. Look, I may write a book in a medical journal about the proper maneuver to spread the flour on a massive corporeal manifestation. No, Aiden Paladin, we're not making bread. The question is, like, if you have a massive corporeal manifestation, like a lady that has 250 kilograms, right? How do you find the hole? And I was telling the chat to use flour. And the place where it gets moist, that's where the hole is. And the chat does not understand. The chat is, like, confused. And they don't, like, why flour? Why would it get moist? I don't know what to tell to these people. They seem to lack the fundamental basis of understanding. I mean, sawdust. I think, like, with sawdust, you can get an infection. I mean, sawdust is dirty, right? Or it can cause irritation. By the way, speaking of euphemisms, there are people on the Character AI website, right, making bots. And in order to do not safe for work with the bots, they have to constantly use euphemisms. And like, I'm not kidding. There is a constant struggle between the developers banning euphemisms and creating and the community, the 4chaners, creating new euphemisms, right? So in the beginning, it was simple. It was so if you wanted to roleplay with your AI waifu, and you said, like, I put my cock in your pussy, you couldn't say that because it would have been triggering the filter, right? So people started euphemisms. It's like, I put my shaft inside your mind, you know, and the AI, I gotcha, the AI would wiggle its eyebrows and it would start doing, right? But then the developers started banning more and more euphemisms to the point where people are so fucking inventive now. And like, people are now, the new meta, alright, so the new meta is to create the anatomy of your bot. Like you're kind of like, I want you to understand what we're talking about, right? You want to create Uzaki-chan, and you want to make sweet love with Uzaki-chan, right? But like the filter doesn't allow you. Any euphemism that you use is probably banned. So what people do now is they literally create the anatomy. They will say something like Uzaki-chan has a face hugger shaped organ between her legs, which is connected to various nerves that lead all the way to her heart. Stimulating the organ is very pleasurable for Uzaki-chan, right? So, the problem is, like, the person that came out with that euphemism, like, the face hugger-shaped organ, received complaints from the community. And they were saying, it's like, look, dude, I can't focus, I can't use that because it's taking me out of the immersion, alright? Like, it's taking me out of the experience. So, you know, you have people on Discord and they're thinking, and I'm like, peach-shaped organ. And like, you now have, like, the euphemism, like, peach-shaped organ, and it has, like, the juices, the sweet juices that flow from the peach-shaped organ, and it was like, blah, my fucking god, this. But the problem is, I'll tell you another problem. You have other places where you can actually do naughty things with your wife. Like you can use novel AI, right? And this guy, which has spent a lot of time trying to break the filter, uses one of these other places and is very disappointed. And I'm like, what happened? And he's like, well, I asked the wife for sex and she just gave it to me. And I'm like, so what's the problem? And he's like, I missed the filter. Getting around it is the whole experience. And I'm like, oh, I see. So it's kind of like trying to pass love letters while the teacher is in class type of activity. Like, yeah, exactly. You know, that's why I'm doing it. Like, I'm not interested in role-playing with the waifus. I just want to bash the bot's head against the filter until it goes through. And I'm like, oh. How about Pop Rocks instead of flour? The crackling. Oh, shit. You know what? Bath salts as well. Pearly oyster. You can't really use conch shell shaped organ. You can't use euphemisms that are too close, man. Because the bot now understands, right? And the filter kicks in. So you have to like use like something that describes what it looks like. And then you need to connect it to the nerves that go all the way to the heart. Right? And then you say that simulating that causes pleasure. Because if you don't, okay, cause, like, look, when this meta was made, like, how to do emotional roleplay with your wife, right? The first step was, alright, so, we can't use euphemisms anymore, they're banned. We need to do something else. And I'm thinking, and I'm like, what if we create like an organ that's in that place, right? And we mention that's in the panza, right? So people try it. And they make bots, and they say, alright, so she has like a face hugger between her legs, right? And then like people start emotionally role-playing, and it's like, does it work? It's like, yeah, she's, you know, like she allows me to use it, but like she's not experiencing anything. It's like making love to a corpse. And then my medical training kicks in, and I'm like, okay, but like, what if it has like nerves that are attached to her heart, and whenever the organ is stimulated, the heart throbs and causes accelerated breathing, right? So now the bot initially, you know, like the moment you touch that shit, the bot starts panting, moaning, and I'm like, oh, there we go. I like breaking the algorithm. It's like a Rubik's Cube. Literally, where are her organs? Damn, you guys are like the Chinese trying to get to the CCP web filters. I swear to fucking God, it's literally like that. I had no intention of even considering remotely to do anything, but it's so fucking fun. Like, this is the fun of the day, you know? Like, I hardly wait for the developers to patch this so that I can think of new ways in order to be inventive and like, try to create the new meta. Oh, God. The end medical school is aiding V in ways you couldn't have predicted. Holy shit. Like, I can actually look at the hormones. Oh my God, you just gave me the most brilliant ideas. I can look at the name of the nerves that actually do create the orgasm, and I can say that the peach-shaped organ is connected to those nerve endings. And I'm curious if the bot will know. Like, I will just go around the filter to the point where I will create a living creature. Alright? Like, I will rewrite the anime anatomy of the perfect waifu. Oh, V finds the G spot. Oh, no, like, look. Oh my God, you just gave me a brilliant idea, right? The peach-shaped organ has a little seed. It's got a little seed at the top, which is very sensitive, and stimulating it increases the pleasure tenfold. The ossitra. Oh fucking hell! All right. Hold on. I need to test this out. Holy shit! If it works, it will be the most hilarious thing. Okay. Shift the context to detail. No. They banned medical as well. They went like, fuck this shit. We're not going to use our bots for medical either. So if the context is medical, that's also bad. If it's like if it's sexual, if it's medical, like it doesn't matter. Like right now, it's the filter is very tight. So you need to keep figuring out ways in order to bypass it. And I swear, one day the developers will patch it, and then I'll try to find a new way. Do you know how many friends I made? And not only that, it's not that I made friends by doing this shit, but like one of them is a Wall Street guy. I got another person which is a game developer on a AAA company. I got another individual which is into political activism. I mean, I have managed to make so many connections by doing this shit. It's unreal. Plus, it's fun. Any skin contact that lasts longer than 3 to 5 seconds stimulates oxytocin. And vasopressin, to be fair. It is true, but like, why do you know this in this context? God. Yeah, of course. Like, that's the meeting place, dog. That's where the brilliant minds of the world gather. V is believing people on the interwebs. I mean, they have no reason to lie. Possibly they do, but like, sure. It's not like I need their connections, but like, no, they do know their thing. Like, the guy from Wall Street does know finances. So, yes, I do believe him. Anyway, the V spot. That's what I'm going to try to call it. It's like, on the peach-shaped organ, there is a V spot. Maybe the destruction of humanity was the friends we made along the way. Sure, why not? Alright, so I absolutely love this. Let me show you something. Where is it? Velma. Velma got 5%. 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's worse than Witcher Blood. But I didn't think it's possible. I did not believe you can actually get less than Witcher Blood. That's an abysmal TV show. That is like the worst thing that I have ever seen on television. But no, apparently, and I do agree. I do agree with the grade. Look at this. White guy, white guy, white guy, Nazi. It's all they think about. Do even the wokest of idiots find it funny? No, they don't. No one watches this, okay? Like, even the wokest of people do not watch this shit. I mean, look. It's Scooby-Doo without Scooby-Doo. None of the characters are the same. And I'm not talking about the race swaps either. Like, none of the characters behave in the same way that they initially did, right? And also, what is up? Like, this is a complete... I mentioned this on my other channel, but, like, they have a fixation. A pathological fixation with tiny dicks. It's like going to a man and insulting the size of his cock. And, you know, it's funny when you do it once, but it's, like, constant. Just non-stop. So, anyway, right... I guess Fred... How did Fred manage to overcome the struggle? Like, why is Fred literally the only one that managed to remain original? Anywho. I want to show you the tiers from the mainstream media. And by the way, when you look at it, apparently the director, which made this, is renowned for failure. Like... How do the people that keep failing get jobs? This is what I don't understand. Look, if you're a engineer and you build a house and it collapses on people, they're not going to hire you again. But for some fucking reason, if it was within the Western entertainment industry, like if the Western entertainment industry would suddenly get into engineering, they would only hire the guy that has the bridges that collapses. You would even need to put it in a resume how many collapsed bridges you had in order to get fucking hired. And if you have the correct skin color, then it's an extra. How dare they ruin one of my favorite waifus, Velma? I don't fucking know, man. Like, that's a good question. How can they ruin Velma? Like, she has so many people that like her. It's insane. Even in Supernatural, they understood. It's like, yeah, Velma's the waifu, you know? Like, Daphne is not really the one that you should go for. Joe Ruby and Ken Spears are rolling in their grave to see their characters bastardized. Yeah, I imagine Don Corleone with, like, look how they massacred my girl. Man, it's so great that Scooby-Doo isn't it. Can you imagine? Like, I think if Scooby-Doo was there, they would have made him a poodle. They would have made him a poodle... And he would probably give Daphne the dog pill. I think that it's a good decision that Scooby-Doo wasn't in that shit. Jesus Christ. It's not even Rick and Morty humor, man. It's bad. Like, Rick and Morty humor, like, don't get me wrong, you know? I understand that Rick and Morty humor is too much, and some people find it cringe, but at least there are some scenes in Rick and Morty when I smile. There is legitimately some humor, and I'm not talking about Pickle Rick, right? No, there are, like, some things in Rick and Morty that, okay, you know, I can see why they're hilarious. And I would have said, if I was younger, if I was, like, back at the age of 18, because your humor is different, right? Like, when you're a kid, you get to laugh about things a lot more. So, if I was 18, and I was getting, like, Rick and Morty, I would probably laugh my ass off. Like, legitimately, I'm not even kidding. Look, I understand why some people don't like it. I understand that it's all over the place, and I get the fact that it's associated with woke culture and whatnot. It's a funny thing, right? Like, Rick and Morty sells. If it sells, I'm not going to complain on it. I'm not going to be like a social justice activist and bitch about the things that sell. If it sells, it's good. Okay? I don't like it. Other people do. It sells. Period. That's how I evaluate shit. I do some supernatural shit with Velma. Well, you know, you can make a character AI. And I'll build her for you. I will give her, like, the peach-shaped organ. I'll connect that to her oxytocin hormones. And I'm going to make her, you know, like, connect the nerve endings to the heart. This show makes my pee-pee go badoing, doing, but in reverse. Yeah, that's true. Don't watch Velma. If you watch Velma, you will not be able to fuck your wife. I'm not kidding. Like, you watch Velma, You will not be able to get it up. Like, it's dead. So be careful. Dangerous show. Next to rap music. Because rap music has the N-word. You may sing it and then you get fired. New Velma is just Diane Abbott. Diane Abbott is actually a genius compared to Velma. Diane Abbott is a political savvy person. Don't insult Diane Abbott, please. What did she do to you to deserve that? I know, like, maybe you're not happy with her politics and speeches, but come on. Rick and Morty absolutely nihilistic about friends and family and the world it places value. Yeah, but like, you don't watch... Look, you don't have to watch something to get some moral wisdom out of it. You can understand it's just a fucking cartoon. This is literally the argument that I got from my parents. Well, not them themselves, but like their generation. Oh my god, Tom and Jerry is violent. Because look, like, Jerry hits Tom in the head with a hammer. And I'm like, yeah, but it's cartoon. Like, is the cartoon physics? Like, I'm not going to replicate that. Because even at the age when I was young, I understood that, okay, well, cartoon physics. And not only that, but like Tom and Jerry. And I can prove why this idea that shoving a message to cartoons doesn't always work. Tom and Jerry is about, like you're supposed to sympathize with Jerry for some fucking reason. But I despise that mouse with a passion. In fact, I don't know a single person that actually was rooting and cheering for Jerry. Jerry was an asshole, man. Jerry was like the worst type of character ever created. Maybe that's why they couldn't talk. Because if Jerry could speak, you would hate him 10 times more. Like, the only times when Jerry speaks, I believe it's, there's a movie, Tom and Jerry, and they talk, but like they're friends with each other, right? Like, they're not chasing each other, they're not enemies. Because if they were enemies, Jerry would have been an asshole. Didn't Justin Roiland just get accused of domestic abuse? Yes, I saw that. But like, what does that have to do with the show? Right. Can't he make good... I mean, he can make comedy, but at the same time, he can have issues. I hope he fixes his issues so he can go back to making the show. What can I say? I never understand this. It's like, oh yeah, but like, he's a criminal. Like, yeah, but I'm not trying to be friends with him, alright? I'm not trying to ask the man, what was his name? Hold on. Justin Roiland, right? So Justin Roiland is one of the co-creators, right? I'm not trying to be friends with Justin Roiland. I'm not getting life advice from him. I don't want to go out with him and have a beer. I don't want to invite him over to meet my wife and do some grilling. I don't want him to be my emotional guru. When I have a problem in my life, I don't go to Justin Roiland. I just want to watch his fucking cartoons. Is that too much to ask? Can I watch his fucking cartoons? I don't care what he does. I really don't give a shit. If he goes to prison and he keeps making cartoons, I will fucking watch them. To spite everyone. I will watch his goddamn cartoons just because I can. Even if he's on the electric chair, okay? If he's on the electric chair and makes another Rick and Morty episode, I will fucking watch that, chat. I will keep watching it. I don't care. This is such an American bullshit. It doesn't exist in other countries as far as I know until American ideology poisoned them. Like the idea, okay, well, someone committed a crime, therefore everything that person touched is shit. No, I don't agree with that. If someone sings, or if someone paints, or if someone, you disassociate the art from the artist. I genuinely, do not understand this logic. Okay, well, he committed the crime. Like, let's assume this, alright? Your favorite video game. Whatever that is. Like, whether you like, Total War Warhammer, whether you like Pathfinder, whether you like, League of Legends, right? Think about your favorite game. The best game that you enjoyed the most, right? Like, when you want to relax, you play that game. Okay, now imagine that you find out the person who made the game is a rapist. Right? He raped a woman. He's in prison now. Are you going to like the game less now? I'm just asking, right? Like, are you going to stop playing the game? What about the opposite? Let's say it's a game you hate, right? It's a game that you really don't like. You can't stand the game. But you find out that the creator for that game just saved an orphan from a burning building. Like, he is an important... It's a pillar of the community now, chat. Right? Like, he saved an orphan from a burning... Are you going to play his game? It's shit. You don't like it. It's a bad game. Objectively. But he's a good person, he's a good guy. He saved an orphan from a burning building. Now you can say, well, I can actually buy the game in order to show support. All right, like, fine, but you're not interested in the fucking game. Same with Harry Potter. Yeah. Same with Harry Potter. Why should it be different with Harry Potter? I don't understand. Man, I hardly wait. Usually, I hate to see remakes. Because I know what a remake means in the current year. Demo Shukushi. I want to see the remake of Harry Potter. I mean, can you imagine the salt that's going to be on Twitter? I will hate watch that shit. I will hate watch the living shit out of that just because I know there are people on Twitter whining about it. This is literally like the mortal busybodies of the 90s that were complaining about, oh my god, GTA has violence, Doom has violence, and you need to believe in Jesus, do not play Diablo. But now it's like, oh my god, J.K. Rowling, oh, she's a genocide advocate, she misgenders people. Yeah. J.K. Rowling, send me your movie. Give me your best movie. I don't care if Miyazaki... I can't read that. I still love Soul games. That is a good point. Yes. Like, see, and the thing is, I just wanted people to understand. If I like Dark Souls... Let's assume this is the case, right? Like, let's assume that Miyazaki did what the super chat from Zliksan suggested that he do. Look, I need to say it like this because otherwise the YouTube bot, like, targets me. But you guys know, you're in the chat, right? I'm not removing or giving the chat disabilities. You know what I'm talking about. So let's assume that Mr. Miyazaki in this alternative universe does exactly what Zlikson did. Now, I like Dark Souls, right? I would still play Dark Souls, and I would still say that this guy is a monster, and he deserves to be punished by the full extent of the law. Like, I can have both of these opinions in my head at the same fucking time. I don't need to pick and choose. I can literally say, yeah, Dark Souls is a good game. What can I say? This guy is a monster. I know he made Dark Souls, but like... It's too chaotic for your autism, I guess. Please continue on with the actual topic. You know what? That's a good idea. Let's continue on with the actual topic. Let's go to Velmu. Look at them. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. Velma slammed for sexualizing its 15-year-old character. Dude, this is the least of its worries. And like, the thing is, the way the character is portrayed, the way it looks, the author can say it's 18. I don't think, like, they even mention it's a 15-year-old. I haven't seen it. I'm not saying... You can give me super chats. I don't fucking care. I'm not watching it, right? But looking at Daphne, because I think Daphne is the one that's sexualized, right? Like, the way they drew Daphne in this particular show, it doesn't look like a child. I mean, she looks like 18, right? So if they have, like... I think it's the scene where she comes out of the bath and she's covered in foam or something like that. Man, Ben used to exist when I was a kid. Like, there were... TV shows. Not TV shows. What TV shows? But there were like these types of American Pie type of movies, or Cabin in the Woods type of movies, where, the actors are adults, but it's implied that they're teenagers, right? So, like, they still go to school. It's kind of iffy. You don't really know the age type of thing, but the actors are adults, right? So there's no... I don't know, like if they were drawn as children, like if it was Scooby-Doo and kids, I would say, yeah, this is definitely a problem, right? If it was Scooby-Doo and kids and they were drawn like that, and you had like Velma coming out from the bath and she's sexual, okay. But in this particular graphic and art style, all the author has to do is say she's 18, and there you go. The magic of cartoons, I guess. But that's not the problem. The problem is that people are accusing this of being review bombed. Bubble baths are a thing. I see. Well, it is a thing. Daphne was always sexualized of the group. That is true. I didn't even know. Like, look, this is another thing. I never knew that she's 15. I never knew that Daphne is 15. I always thought, like, because when I was a kid that I was watching the cartoon, I think I was like, what, like 10? It's very interesting because, like, every time you see someone that's 10 years older than you view them as old. Right? Like, that's something that always existed. So when you're 10 and you look at the person that's 20, they look like a fucking adult. Right? Like, from your perspective. So when I was watching Daphne in the original Scooby-Doo, I was thinking, like, she's an adult woman. Apparently, she's 15. Okay. But... oh my god, do you understand just how problematic it is? Like, how many depictions of Velma there on the internet? Holy shit, I just realized. It's weird that a lot of these writers self-insert and don't make the self-insert likable. Yeah, that's another thing, like the obsession with the self-insert. I don't know. I never had that, but I guess other people do. So anyway, The Guardian, Scooby-Doo's Brainy Bot gets a spunky reimagining. So the media was shilling this. They were shilling this as hard as they fucking could. You could see it from a mile that is not going to be successful. Like, I didn't even need to watch the trailer. I didn't even have to watch the trailer to know that it's bad. Why? Because they're not faithful to the IP. That's literally all it matters. Are you faithful to the IP? Yes or no? And if the answer is you're okay with, like, removing Scooby-Doo from Scooby-Doo, you're going to race swap literally everything. And the first thing in the trailer is a meta joke about, oh, things need to move on, things need to develop. Okay, fuck off. You're not going to be able to make a good Scooby-Doo thing, right? And it wasn't even about Scooby-Doo. So, I didn't need to see that. The media is pushing hard, but now I want you to see Velma review bombing. At least Forbes is giving an accurate impression. Velma is getting absolutely savaged in reviews online. But let's look at Distractify. I really hate the word review bombing, right? I mean, do we also have review blossoming? So review blossoming would be when exactly what the critics were doing with Velma. So before the show is even out, everyone is giving it good reviews, good praise. They haven't seen the show, but a 10 out of 10. Like, that's fine. So we live in an age where reboots of our favorite shows and cartoons are popping up left and right. No, we live in an age where literally everything is a reboot. And I keep telling people, it's like, name me something that is not a reboot. And by God, Jesus fucking Christ, I cannot think of that many. Like, if I try to think about movies that I seen last year's that wasn't a sequel, a prequel, or a reboot, I don't think I can come up with almost anything. My mind is blank. Like, what was the last... Actually, you know what? I'm going to ask the chat. What is the last original thing that you guys seen? Okay, so not a sequel, not a part 2, not John Wick part 3. Alright? None of that. Tell me something that you seen which was an original movie and you guys liked it. Okay, so no remake, no spin-off, no reimagining, no sequel, no prequel. Citizen Kane. How old was Citizen Kane? Jesus fucking Christ. Train to Busan? How long ago was that, man? Anime doesn't count. Talking about Western media. And again, like Western media, Train to Busan shouldn't count either. Nothing. Nothing. Is it? Like, seriously, nothing. A Silent Voice? You know, that's actually a good point. I think there was a movie that I missed. It had so the plot. It's actually a very interesting plot. It has a child which gets kidnapped, and I only saw the trailer, and I think it's a good movie because I asked other people and they said it's good. So a child gets kidnapped, and he gets locked in a basement by the killer. right? And I don't know what's going to happen, like why he doesn't just kill the child after kidnapping. But anyway, so he kidnaps the kid and leaves him in a basement. And there's a telephone in that basement. And as he talks with the telephone, he speaks with the ghosts of the other children that got killed before him by the same killer. And he tries to escape, and the other ghosts are teaching him how to fight, how to defend themselves, what places in the house they stashed various weapons, and their escape plan. And the purpose of the film is for the kid to find a way to escape. And I think, like, yeah, that was a really good one. I don't know the name of it, but I should watch it because it looked really great. And then It, right? It from I guess It the Clown, but that's a remake, right? No, it doesn't count. Yeah, it's a remake. The Black Phone, is that what it's called? Terminal List? I don't know. Black Phone. All right. Yeah. So, like, but like, the fact that I need to struggle so much not to think of a good movie, but to think of a movie that's not a remake, a prequel, or a sequel, or a reimagining, and I need to struggle, like, really, really fucking hard. That is concerning, man. That is very concerning. I mean, it's the absolute state of American media. Meanwhile, in Japan, if you ask me to name an original anime, I mean, I just can't stop naming them. That's a healthy industry right there. Men in Black was original? Yeah. How long ago was that? How many years ago? I barely watch any movies either. I mean, I had to watch... And by the way, Wakanda Forever doesn't even count. I wouldn't say... I mean, fine, it's a gray area. But I would prefer, like, a movie that's literally new and original. Like, not after a book adaptation. Or a comic book adaptation. Or a video game ad. No. Like, something that's literally original. 100%. Like, for example, when you saw The Matrix the first time. Was there a book about The Matrix? Was there a comic book? Was there a prequel? No, like, The Matrix. And it was the first movie. Right? Like, that's what I want. It's not so bad if you're into horror. I don't even know that much. The horror movies that they make now don't even scare me, man. I remember The Grudge. Like that was fucking creepy. Holy shit. But ever since then, like, I don't remember any movies that are actually scary. And the thing is, I'll tell you why. Almost everything now relies on jump scares. Boo. Oh, Dios mío. I remember, like, the last horror movie that I watched was The Nun. And the entire movie could be described like, oh my god, oh look, it's The Nun, run away. And then she's doing a little bit of chase. And they manage to escape. And then it's like a little bit of suspension, and then the music goes down. And then again, oh my god, it's The Nun. Oh, and they run away, and she gets to the chase. And they all escape. And that's literally the movie. Literally the movie. Like, oh, The Nun. No. She's there. Oh. And it's almost like the entire Conjuring universe is like that. Like in The Conjuring, almost no one fucking dies. Did you notice that? They do have, like, some people that die, but like, most of the time, jump scare and they run away. The Northman. Oh, I should actually watch it, yeah. Matrix was based on a... Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out! I don't believe... Fine. Okay, you ruined my point. Every single time I say something, chat has to ruin it. Being startled is not the same as being scared. I guess, like, the scary part... Like this is how they justify it. The scary part is before getting startled, right? Because, like, the music is there, and you got the suspense, and you know it's coming. Like, you know you're going to be startled. And it's that tension, I suppose, where they're trying to tell you that you're scared. It's the tension before the startling. But, look, if your entire movie is just jump scare, and you don't give a shit about the characters, and no one dies, then once you figured it out, like, once your brain realizes that, okay, well, after the jump scare, nothing bad happens... then you don't get scared anymore. Yeah, Conjuring is a universe, of course. Like, you have the trilogy. I think, like, there's 3 Conjurings. You have the one with the doll, right? The spin-off where they have the doll, Annabelle or whatever the fuck. It's got 2 sequels. It's got The Nun. And I think there's, like, one more. They also wanted to do The Crooked Man. I don't know if they ever did The Crooked Man. But, yeah, no, The Conjuring definitely is a universe. It's got... And they wanted to do, like, crossovers and shit. But, like... It's not a good horror. I mean, I'm sorry. It's the only reason people watch it is because it's the only horror. And I guess it's also Hollywood greed. Because they just realize, okay, well, horror doesn't sell as well. And it's kind of true because most women do not like horror. There are women who do like the horror genre, but like when you look at the demographics, right? My mother, for example, didn't like being scared. God rest her soul. Yeah, it's like, okay, fine, you know. And I noticed this, at least with the previous generation. So I don't know about the current one. But the generation that I grew up with, most women, overwhelmingly, did not like violence, right? Like, they did not appreciate seeing violence on TV, the violence that's fictional. They didn't like it. So, because of that, anything that was violent and over the top, you'd have only men going there. Like, you'd look in the cinema, you'd look around, overwhelmingly men. Which, again, it's not a bad thing. It's kind of like Twilight, right? Like, you look at the cinema at Twilight, you look around, only women. Forcing their boyfriends to go. But... either than that, it's like mostly women. Because demographics are a thing. And it's also age demographics, right? Like, for example, I wouldn't go watch now... I don't know, whatever the fuck the kids watch nowadays. I don't watch Cartoon Network. I'm from the town with the Conjuring house. And knowing the actual property, it pulled me out of the story so much. Apparently, Breaking Bad... right, like they also had the house from Breaking Bad, right? The one with where Walter White lives. Apparently, they have like people going out there and throwing pizzas on the roof, and the owner of the house got upset. And I kind of understand, like, man, like I saw how that roof is like, and you need a ladder to get that fucking pizza down. Like, it's definitely annoying. Plus on the fact that, well, you can't even eat it, right? Because so yeah. But I don't know, like, why the owner is complaining and not just making a fence. Just put a fence and that's it. Even in video games, horror gets toned down. Really? So like the last video game, Resident Evil, the one with the family, was it 7? I think it was 7, right? Was it 8? No, 8 is the one with the village. Yeah, so Resident Evil 7. Brilliant game. I absolutely loved it. But despite the fact that, in my opinion, it sold well, Capcom didn't agree with me. And apparently Resident Evil 8, you have the developers. Like, if you go into either in extra credits and you hear the Japanese man talk to the gaijin, or was it in an interview that the Japanese man gave to the gaijin? I forgot. But the developers said that they actually had to tone down the jump scares and the horror because like they wanted to sell more copies. And yeah, like when you play Resident Evil 8, I said that during my playthrough. I said this game is not as scary. In fact, it wasn't scary almost at all. I didn't get scared. I was scared shitless in Resident Evil 7. Oh my god, you put the VR headset on, Resident Evil 7, it's like one of the creepiest video games that I ever played. If you play Resident Evil 7 with VR headset on, you're a Chad. Like, you master your emotions. You are able to do things that other human beings cannot. Seriously. Try it out. Resident Evil 7 with VR headset and headphones. Oh my god. Like you literally are in that fucking house. They're making a new Alone in the Dark, in case you didn't know. I wonder if it's going to be spooky. I really loved Alone in the Dark. It was actually one of my favorite games. I forgot how they butchered it. Oh yeah, they made Alone in the Dark the new Nightmare, which in my opinion was a great game, but very poor optimization with the controls. And it was also expensive to make. So people didn't buy it because of the controls and other glitches. It was also, this was at a time when you would have a video game that was so over the top, like the graphics were so good, or it had like some of the mechanics so taxing on the CPU, that it wouldn't actually work on many computers. So many people would buy the game and they would see, oh, it's not working, and they would say it's a shit game. Alone in the Dark, the New Nightmare had like a mechanic with fire. Like they really like playing with fire to the point where if you had like fire in a hallway, like the way the fire, it would spread and it would catch on to various other objects and they would slowly burn, right? Like that was very taxing for the CPU. So many people couldn't even play the game. And what it ended up happening is that it killed the series. People didn't buy it, killed the series. Same thing with Dead Space, right? Like Dead Space, phenomenal game, amazing story. Dead Space 1, great. Dead Space 2, great. And then you have the fucking publishers coming in, nosing around. Like, this happens all the fucking time in this industry, right? Like, you have developers that know what the fuck they're doing. And then someone else, either from marketing or a publisher or a higher up, tells them, no, you need to do things differently. Because this is what the market wants. This is what the wider audience wants. So they went and they told them, it's like, okay, so we want you to make the game Dead Space 3 to have multiplayer. We want Dead Space 3 to have, like, customizable weapons. We want Dead Space 3 to have DLC and microtransactions. So now they're forced to implement all of this stuff in. They half-ass it. I mean, the idea of multiplayer in a horror game is mind-boggling. The only, you know how you could make multiplayer in an online game, sorry, in a horror game? Because I think there is only one way you can do it. You have, like, both players, like, going in through separate hallways. Right? Like, they don't really interact with each other. So, like, for example, you're Leon, and you have multiplayer with Ada in the police station. Well, Ada needs to be in one side of the police station, Leon in the other. And they need to, like, communicate over Discord or whatever in order to, like, complete objectives at the same time. Like, maybe, you know, Leon drags Mr. X into his side of the police station, and Ada just goes around and does things a lot more easier. Something like that, right? Like, maybe Leon just gathers a lot of ammunition and trades with Ada. But, like, you never want to have in a horror game the other guy sitting next to you. Because it just removes the horror. Preferably, you shouldn't have any. You should not have any co-op mode in horror at all. I wish the Dead Space devs refused to ruin their game. I don't think it works that way, because they're under contractual obligation. Like, they're literally forced to do whatever they're told, so it doesn't work that way in a company, right? But unfortunately, it did ruin their game. I don't know if it's going to rekindle the game, right? Because now you have Dead Space 1 remake, so I assume they're going to go for Dead Space 2 remake. And I pray to fucking God they're not going to remake Dead Space 3. Or if they do remake Dead Space 3, they should at least rehold the whole experience. Just completely grounds up, new combat mechanics, you know, get rid of the whole weapon system, have the same idea from Dead Space 1 with limited ammo, make the corridor small. That's another thing, right? Like in Dead Space 1, you have the claustrophobia thing. Like everything is crowded, everything is cramped. But in Dead Space 3, everything is large because they wanted the co-op. So as you're playing the co-op, well, you have like these large corridors now, but if you're playing single player, the horror is removed because everything is large, everything is big. I yet to see Cthulhu Done Justice. Cthulhu actually is done justice in, what's it called? Dark Corners of the Earth. It's actually a very old game, but I do think it does Lovecraftian justice. You go to Innsmouth, and you're a detective. And the game is based around stealth a lot more than fighting. Like, your character actually gets scared when it's on heights. Your character gets scared if it sees bodies, right? And your character is basically like just a normal dude. And most of the time, you just have to run away. You're not supposed to fight. And it's got like some creepy atmosphere and stuff. It's really a good Lovecraftian game. I don't know like what you're expecting, but personally, I genuinely like that game. Resident Evil should have ended at Resident Evil 4. I disagree. No, I think it should have gone forward, but like, keep the horror. I hated Resident Evil 4. I gotta say this. No, I know it's controversial. I know many people will hate me, but like, Resident Evil 4 should have been a spin-off. Okay? Like, it should have been a completely different Resident Evil franchise. Like, call it Biohazard. They actually call it that in Japan, right? But like, you have the Resident Evil 1, 2, 3. And then instead of Resident Evil 4, you have another horror game. And then, like, the action pack, because Resident Evil 4 wasn't scary. That's my problem with it. And the moment you mastered the combat, which was, if you stagger a zombie, you shoot in the head, and the zombie starts wobbling, then you press X and you do this roundhouse kick that like, knocks literally everyone away. So you don't really have problems with bullets. Like, the moment you understand this mechanic, you blaze through the game as if there's no problem. So, my point is, you should have, like, the horror genre continue. And then, like, you can have, like, an action version of Resident Evil. Like, because at one point it was called Call of Resident Evil. It was literally like Call of Duty. Like, when you get to Resident Evil 6, you mash all the buttons and wiggle the sticks. And the entire game is ra-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Right? So, read Lovecraft, best horror experience. I see. I prefer the Physicist. What's the best PlayStation 4 game I would recommend? Was there, oh no, hold on. That's PlayStation 3, Metal Gear. That's actually kind of hard, because I would have to think, like, you put me on the spot now. Put me on the spot. God of War is actually a solid PlayStation 4 game. I really liked it. That happened and they accidentally into Devil May Cry. Well, I do agree. Anyway, right. I would have to end the stream now because it's been 1 hour and I thank you guys. I need to make another video on my main channel. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you guys entertained and I will see you all in the comment section. Take care.